Welcome to vlog number 3, art vlog number 3, by Eric Wayne, that being me. Here's my new piece. I just finished it last night in the wee hours. It was 5:30 a.m. And then when I was done, I couldn't stop looking at it. It's kind of mesmerizing once you get sucked into it. By the way, can you hear the sawing and hammering in the background? Mentioned that in an earlier video. Got a lot of noise pollution. Just accept that I am vlogging from Siem Reap in Southeast Asia, where I live so that I can live cheaply and do art. So you get sound effects. Adds realism. Enjoy it. So here's this piece. I hope you've been getting sucked into it, mesmerized, hypnotized a little bit. That's what art can do. Lines, shapes, colors. This is particularly colorful for me. A little whimsical. My mother said it was whimsical. She's a fan of my art, which is a good thing. Often one's mother isn't a fan. My mom's a fan. So is my dad and my brother. I don't know if my sister's a fan. I think she is. So let's look at first the line drawing. There you go. So the line drawing happened rather quickly. I'm working on a new series. This is number 4. I'll show you the first 3 in a few minutes. And it starts off as a quick sketch, unpremeditated. I just start doodling and see what I come up with. And hopefully I come up with more and more interesting things in this way. Normally the way it would work would be to make one image and just keep editing and editing until it reached the level of perfection I was happy with. Here I'm trying to do things quicker and a little bit rougher. So here was the drawing, and then I added color under it. This is also a new technique for me. I don't normally work this way. Don't do a line drawing and then color underneath. As a matter of fact, I switch up the way I work all the time. Sometimes I start off with just color and line at the same time, start off with collaging. I try all different approaches. But for this series, I'm trying to do it this way, which I think is good. You look at the end result, it's obviously a drawing. I think it's accessible. Anyone can look at this and know how to process it as a drawing. Some of my work where I've used 3D software, I use, I can't think of the name right now, ZBrush a lot, and I also used Blender, and I use Painter for my impasto techniques. And people look at it, they have no way of knowing how it's done. If they do, they'd appreciate it. But without knowing, I think the result is persuasive, but compared to this, it's much more difficult to get a general idea. Here, they may not know how it's done either. It's all done in Photoshop, so if you've had Photoshop 101, you can pretty much see how it's done. But it also looks like a drawing, so people know. They know how to process it. They know how to ascertain it. They know how to judge it. They know how to look at it. They know the playbook. So I really like this one, and normally when I talk about my art, I just discuss what it is and introduce elements, and I don't say that I like it or why so much, because that seems terribly arrogant and pompous. But if I don't do that, nobody else will. Nobody's really writing about my art, though I have written about some other artists' art. You can see my art criticism section on my blog. So let me talk about why I like this. Some things are just nice. I like her eyes. They're a bit Ren and Stimpy, aren't they? They're simple, and this is not how I normally work. So I was thinking a lot when doing this about the power of line and economy of means. I don't want to be bogged down in details. I look at a lot of other artists, and some of them do these painstaking, realistic tableau images, figurative tableaus. They're spectacular for what they are, but I also look at them and I just think about the labor that went into it, and it's like, oh my God. I see big videos they put on Instagram where there's a man with a tiny brush and a giant canvas, and he's doing it's not a blade of grass, but it might as well be. It's like, my God. I don't personally want to work that way, but I do want detail. So here you can see, got a little problem with my tablet lately. here you can see like there's a lot of little details in here, but it's texture, surface texture, without tedium. Normally I try and do this with my digital impasto technique, but here I'm doing it with drawing and differences in color and tone. So this has surface texture and it glows. This figure on the right is super hot pink. And look at her helmet, the way it bends and becomes weird, sort of, you have all these tentacles here. This almost looks like intestine. It's quite gross, but it doubles as a nose. It looks a little bit like Stimpy. Ren! Stimpy, you're a cat. You don't need underwear. You have fur. So it doubles as a nose or an intestine. This part looks a bit like a shrimp. Maybe because of this reflection here and these segmented parts. And what are these red bubbles? And her neck is a bit like a mushroom stand. And I like that looks like she has a nice shirt on. She seems quite a nice person, but her head is a mess. It's disgusting. But I've done it in a way with line. Oops, rotated it. Incidentally, it looks good either way because I work on it both ways. This is one of the great things of working digitally. You're an artist. Flipping something horizontally and looking at it makes it fresh, and it also shows you your errors, which become quite conspicuous. I don't know which way I like it more, actually. I like it both. I put my signature over here. I'm signing these. Not that I believe in signatures. Even when I made traditional art, I signed the back. I'm kind of anti-signature. But it's just a way of getting over people's anti-digital art bias, make it look even more traditional. It looks extremely traditional. And so overall, I just like that this is a line drawing. It's kind of light, and it's weird. The guy on the left, I think, is a little goofy. If it was just him, I might reject this. I don't think I would have done it. I had a lot of trouble with his eyes. I didn't like them for the longest time, and I finally pulled it off. The spots, by the way, are inspired by tokay geckos. There are a lot of them here in Southeast Asia. They do a sound. You've been out here, you know. It kind of does this warm up, and then the crescendo. I like to do that in the supermarket. Make people think there's a tokay gecko in there. My girlfriend doesn't think I'm fooling anyone, and I am on video camera, but it's just something I like to do. Then I look around like, where's the gecko? Where's the gecko? And I guess, so in the back, this is also what I like. I have this very rough stuff in the background. Like, what is it? Thought bubbles, dreams. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep it rough. And I did. I got rid of the outlines, and that's quite a nice cloud, I think. Very impressionistic, right? Speaking of impressionism, this, like, water in the background, it's almost like Monet lily pads. There's a nice path back here. It's almost peaceful. As grotesque as she is, and as goofy as he is, I find this very peaceful. And, my girlfriend called it pretty. I would not use that word. I would say beautiful. Yeah, these colors are a bit femme for me, but I also like that because it's not my normal color. I wouldn't have hot pink, so much hot pink, but actually I can't stand pink usually, but in images as a color, I like it. So the sky does not have a line. It's just, the whole background is without line. So I like that combination of no lines and in the foreground lines. And when you're dealing with lines, there's you have your line kind of design. By the way, I'm drawing on a probably about the cheapest Wacom tablet you can get. It's in a pillow on my lap, right? I don't look at it when I draw. I look at the screen and draw in my lap. So it's actually a difficult way to drawing. I'd like to get like a Cintiq. There's ones you can draw directly on the image. That would be amazing. Can't afford it. I don't think I can even buy it out here, but in the future I would like to get it. So you have the line art and the shapes and looking at the composition that way, and then you have just the colors and so on. Enough about that one. Let's look at the other three really quickly for this. Ooh, here's how I'm recording this. You can go to my blog if you haven't been to my blog. Art and Criticism by Eric Wayne, artofericwayne.com. And I created a page for this new series under art. I'm tentatively calling this series Imagine This. By the way, this is a section of one of my digital impasto paintings. This style takes a lot of time, and I think my new style's more economical. So here you see the 4 so far. You can click on any of them. By the way, there's my Instagram. Here's my public Facebook page. I have almost no followers at all. I just started it. If you're on Facebook and you would like to follow me there, just click on this and like it. Click on this and like it. So let's go to this one, the new one. There it is again. Looks good on a white background, right? And here are the first 3. Let's go in order. This is number 1. And I set this up so you can just click on them to see it in a new window by itself. This is in Firefox. And then once you're here, you can just hit F11 to go full screen. And when you're done looking at it, F11 to get back. So full screen, get your mouse out of there, and you can just enjoy it. It's a good way to look at art. It's a good way to look at my art. This one's called Down by the River. It was the first one with the giant eyeball. I have a blog, I think, where I talk about this one. You can go to the individual post about it. Number 2. One-eyed monster in hot pursuit. F11. There you go. Still, actually, quite like this one. Much rougher than the one I'm on now. And number 3. Oops, hit F12 by mistake. F11. What was this one called? Test my memory here. Immortal Space Combat. I try to give them clever little names, a lot of rock song names. That's not a rock song. Probably is, but not one I know. I like this. I like it a lot. F11. And back to the new one. You can also click on this to see it in a new window. And now, after I've talked about these and everything, I recorded 5 minutes of my doing initial sketch yesterday. Now I'm trying to not do the 10 1-minute sketches. I'm doing 6 5-minute sketches, which lets me be a little more elaborate in the concept phase. So I'm going to show you this separate little video. It's sped up a little bit with a musical accompaniment. It's kind of badass. Watch it next. And that's all for today.